Well, it was a great performance again by our offense. 8 possessions, 8 touchdowns. What more can you say? It's been exciting watching them, and I hope everybody's enjoyed the efficiency in which they operate. I think Georgia State had a great game plan. They came in trying to hold on to the football. They had 35 minutes of possession time to our 24, hoping to, shorten the game. But we were just so efficient on offense. Daniels, again, 8 touchdowns, accounted for 6 touchdowns, 2 rushing. And what else was amazing was 25 for 30 for over 400 yards. I mean, 25 for 30 for 400 yards, the efficiency of that. Generally, when you see 25 for 30, you see like short passes, screens, flares, things of that nature. A dominating performance from the offensive side. And I thought, after the 2 touchdowns that we gave up defensively, 2 plays that we, obviously felt like we should have, defended better. They settled down and did a nice job for the last 3 quarters, and were really resilient. Had some nice 4th down stops, and did a nice job defensively from that perspective. So, good win. These games are not easy. When you come out of the SEC after the emotions of playing SEC games, we've seen that. And many of the games that SEC opponents, SEC teams played against out-of-conference opponents, you saw that with an upset or 2 in some close games. But our kids took care of business and, won 56-14. So really happy with them. So with that, we'll open up the questions.
Yeah. Brian, we're kind of running out of ways to describe what Jayden's doing, but could you speak to the preparation maybe and the detail in which he goes to have this kind of success on a Saturday?
Well, I think you guys are starting to see how assertive and decisive. I think that's the word that I would use more than anything else, is decisiveness in throwing the football. When you're 25 for 30 throwing the football, the decisiveness and the decision-making has to be that way, and that's what you're seeing. Did you want to come on up here? Come on up. It's okay. I don't want you to fall again, so you're doing good. What's your name? Mason? Good to meet you, Mason. Come here. Great job.
Try to keep you
All right.
try to keep it down.
All right. Well, keep trying to do it. You're not doing such a good job. But decisiveness is really the most important thing for me as to what I've seen.
Coach, do you think as a head coach it's your, I don't want to say responsibility, but maybe it is, to do everything you can to get Jayden the Heisman?
I think when I have, the opportunity to talk about my players, I'm going to do it. And I think I mentioned that, Ed, and I think in this case, I'm going to use my opportunities to talk about my player. And I think he's the best player in college football, and every opportunity that I get, I'm going to make sure that people understand that. His efficiency, the way he takes over the game. If you're on the other sideline, you just kind of, how do you defend him? They tried to blitz him. That didn't work. They dropped 8 in the 4th quarter. They just said, all right, we're just going to drop 8. And that didn't work. We've seen virtually everything this year, from trap coverages to, every kind of configuration, and it just hasn't worked. So I'm going to talk about him as much as I can.
Coach, you said a number of times this year Jaden Daniels is the best player in college football. Is he the best player you've ever coached?
I think right now, the way he's playing and the decisiveness and the way he's taking over games, he's the best player. And I would say that because the numbers are reaching, levels that are, for example, he tied Joe Burrow's record. I don't know, many people were kind of saying would 8 touchdowns ever be, touched. I mean, he tied that, and I think that's the level of play. So, yeah, I would say he's the best.
You say you talk about him every chance you get. Tonight, did you approach the game with aggressiveness, obviously, to lead him in as long as you did and continue to throw the ball to show the nation that he is that good? Or?
Yeah, I mean, clearly, we feel like we need to continue, as an offense, to give him an opportunity to show his skills. I mean, we're down to one more game left in the season, and so I think it's our job to continue to put a young man in a positive situation to show himself to everybody. And look, I mean, there is an entertainment part to this as well, and he is entertaining, and I think that's a good part of this where he's so entertaining. People want to come see him play.
Mason Smith had a nice night. It looked like. Do you see some improvements along the front there?
Yeah, we're getting better up front. I wish we were here a little bit earlier in the season, but we've made substantial progress up front, and you could see that there wasn't much room. It was really thick and heavy in there. They got out on a couple of quarterback runs, and we misfit one play on a pressure, which I wish we could have had back. But other than that, we were thick and heavy up inside.
Brian, you've talked a lot tonight about efficiency. I think 13 of the last 14 offensive drives have resulted in touchdowns, and the one non-touchdown is the kneel down against Florida 10.
So we can say pretty efficient.
13 of 13.
13. Let's do that.
How is that possible? I mean, I don't know if that's just like an oversimplified way of asking you this question, but how is that possible?
No, I would tell you that all facets of the game have to be executed, all 11 players. And we've seen it in different forms, haven't we? We've seen an offensive line that doesn't give up sacks, 5 guys working together, backs doing their jobs and making great blocks or picking people up in protections, receivers blocking downfield. It's not just, throwing it and catching it. And obviously that's a huge part of this, and that's what we write and talk about. But when you are that efficient, all of these other areas, they show themselves as well. And so when you have efficiency at that level, you have to do all the little things, and they're doing all those things selflessly, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to be part of.
Coach over here. So much attention to Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., but Kyron Lacey had a really good night tonight, over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. How have you seen his patience really pay off and lead to a night like tonight?
Well, he's a very capable wide receiver, and his role has been one where he's going to get his chances because there's so much attention paid to those other 2 receivers that many times he gets the one-on-one matchups, and he's an outstanding receiver, and he's the beneficiary. That itself, I think, has allowed him to not be frustrated because he knows when he gets his chances, they're going to be big plays. I thought Malik did a great job tonight. He was a bit frustrated at times because he was they were tilting the coverage pretty hard to him, and he fought through it. And I was proud of the way he handled himself because he still came out with a couple of touchdowns and some yardage, but those are days in his younger days where he might have, we might have missed him for a couple of plays. But he did a great job today, showed great maturity.
Coach, over here, after the first quarter, was there a specific defensive adjustment that worked to sort of help?
No, we just, we had a pressure on, and they cracked our safety. We're supposed to push that back, and we didn't fit it the right way. And then Greg was in coverage on a drive route, and he let it get inside him on the goal line. A couple plays that we just, we made some adjustments, some slight adjustments in terms of how we were going to, push those back out to the safety. And then, we didn't play the ball in the air where we jumped offside. Stamps just needs to look for the football. Young player. I thought he was a little nervous early on. He settled down nicely later. Made some plays, and it was just a matter of playing the ball in the air. I thought they settled down nicely. I think we played, our base defense maybe after the second quarter. We probably played it 90% of the time. We didn't do anything else but get our cleats in the ground and just play football.
Yeah, they've asked you about the best ever, and you've talked about execution. I'm just wondering, knowing the game plan and being so intricate and involved, how fun is it for you to kind of see what he can do next?
It's exciting to know that guy's on your team, first of all, and then there's this sense of whatever you call, it's going to be executed, and it's not like when the call comes in, you're thinking, okay, what's the defense going to do? Because they have no chance unless they come up with something new, and that's a quarterback that has complete control over what's going on out there, and that's kind of fun.
How do you feel overall, like hitting this final? You could win a 9th game next week in a bowl game. You could win a 10th. You might finish in the top 10 if you get some breaks. I mean, those aren't the top goals, but it could be a very good season, in your opinion, if you finish the way you want.
We're building a foundation for consistency. And look, we want to be in the playoffs. We want to be in hunts for championships, and we're not this year. But what we're doing is building consistency. Winning is part of that consistency, and that's why these next couple of games are very important to try to get to another 10-win season. Builds a consistency of winning in your program that allows you to do other things. It allows you to continue to recruit and develop and retain your players so your program continues to move up that ladder, and that's what we're trying to build. Great, thank you.
We'll bring Jayden to the podium, and then we'll bring the other 3 guys in. Y'all have a question for Jayden? Raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you, please.
So Jayden, you obviously had a great game tonight, but what's a quarterback without his receivers? So kind of describe the relationship you have with them and how important they are to you.
Without them, I wouldn't be able to do nothing like this. Be able for them to catch the ball and be explosive after the catch. That's something that too many people don't have in the country. So just the relationship and the bond that we have on and off the field, it just translates to Saturdays.
Jayden, we talked with Coach, and it seems that there's very little that you're not seeing out there from the defenses. Can you speak to the preparation that you've taken throughout the course of this year to be able to read everything, understand, and then adjust if it is something new?
Just what the coaches feel like I can handle. They put a lot on my plate, and, I take a lot of responsibility on the offense to be able to go out there and have us execute at a high level. It falls on me, be able to just communicate with the whole offense and what I'm seeing, and the certain looks that we went through at practice. So, I give coaches the credit sometimes. They go out there and make practice super hard for us so Saturdays can be easy.
What was the conversation like in terms of leaving you in the game and just continuing just to let you go in terms of people view it as, hey, we're going for the Heisman? I don't know what they told you or.
Everybody knew what was at stake. We just kept flowing. We had 8 possessions, 8 touchdowns. So that's something that we take highly as an offense. And then from there, once I found out I had the record, I tied the record. I was trying to go again, but I got shut down a little bit. So,
Jayden, how are you able to, with kind of this kind of gap, I guess, in between SEC play, how are you able to kind of just keep that foot on the gas and be as aggressive as you can against a team like Georgia State today?
Yeah, it's something that I'm chasing. I'm chasing to be great each and every week. I still got a long way to go, but you can't take games off because if you do, you might get beat. So you got to play up to that standard that I set for myself and that I set as a whole team, because we're still chasing something at the end of the day.
We know how just great you've been in terms of improvement with your arm and particularly the downfield passes. I'm curious, though, just what the internal clock has been for you in terms of when you know when to run and when, when's the time to do that because of how explosive you've been with the passing game. Just what has that internal clock been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Honestly, I feel like it slowed down from what I'm seeing, but there's just certain times where if I could extend the play a little bit longer within the pocket, let my O-line do a phenomenal job blocking up front. Just to give me a little more time, and if nothing's there, then from there it's kind of just a decision I make. Like, okay, let me just go ahead and take these couple yards. Keep the chains moving because we don't want negative plays.
Jayden, one of the critiques last year was, people wanted you to push the ball downfield a little bit more. It actually kind of seems funny at this point, remembering that. Was that a focal point to improve upon, or is it just more open this year? Like what went into just improving your shots downfield this year?
I mean, I've always been able to throw the deep ball. It's just the work that we put in this offseason. Just going out there and just being decisive. I got guys out there that can make plays, and as a whole offense, we just wanted to figure out ways we could be more explosive. Obviously, downfield shots were a big thing, but be able to give my receivers catchable passes on time so they could go out there and make plays for themselves.
You're always smiling. Just how fun is it to kind of have this command and be so decisive, like you said, because of your preparation?
Yeah, I mean, it makes the game easier going out there and just really like you said, being decisive. The work I put in throughout the week, I've prepared for what was to come on Saturday. So it's like from there, it's just the preparation during the week is just like, now I'm just out there just playing football, just having fun. The same game I've been playing since I was young. So that's where the joy and stuff comes from.
Jayden, I know you always believed in yourself, but when you left your previous place and came here, did you believe this was possible?
I mean, I would be lying if I said I did. I believe that I could come here and make an impact. But, just to make an impact to this magnitude and, be in the Heisman conversation and stuff like that, that's something I dreamt about. For me, it was kind of just coming here and trying to get a fresh start, just to make a name for myself, from where I was at Arizona State and now coming to LSU, just to go out there and just, find the joy in football again.
Kind of just piggybacking off that question, I mean, these last 2 years have just, I'm sure, been a journey for you, and you've bet on yourself. So what's that like just to see it finally all start paying off for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's really nothing but God. It's God's plan, honestly. His timing with everything is just I had to go out and put the work in. And coming back this offseason, I put the work in day in and day out. You can't cheat the game of football, so you really got to go out there and just give it your all. Just lock in for a couple months, and your life could change.
How special is it playing with an offensive line like this and the chemistry that you guys have built from last year to this year?
It's very special knowing that those guys, they trust me and I trust them. I got their back and they got mine. And they do a great job, up front, just how close they are with everything, how close we are as an offense, just from the O-line to receivers to running back, everybody. We all love each other. We all have each other's backs.
What do you think your last game in Tiger Stadium will mean next weekend to you when you go out there?
It'll mean a lot. Just the journey I've been through, not just here but in college, honestly, and see it to come to an end. I can't really say the emotions I'll probably have or, my family will have. That's something that it probably just hit us as I run out the tunnel for the senior night. My name is announced and stuff like that. But it's going to mean a lot, just being able to come here and really just refocus myself and rebrand who I wanted to be as a football player as a man, too.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll bring the other three guys in. Put them at the backdrops like you normally do.